The NFL world was left in shock when Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin suddenly collapsed on the field during a game against the Cincinnati Bengals. While we were all holding out hope for the best, there was just a little doubt in everyone's mind whether Damar would be able to make it. Well, you can finally put those concerns to rest as the 24-year-old seems to be making great progress. Keep watching to find out more. First up, what happened on the field the night Damar got injured? With 5 minutes and 58 seconds on the clock, Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins accidentally knocked 24-year-old safety Hamlin in the chest with his helmet while running the ball. Higgins was dragged to the ground by Hamlin. Hamlin immediately got to his feet, but only to collapse a few seconds later. According to the Associated Press, medical workers attended to Hamlin for 19 minutes on the field, during which he got CPR and an automated external defibrillator. According to CBS Sports, paramedics loaded him onto a stretcher and transferred him to an ambulance, where he was given oxygen before being brought to the hospital. According to the Bills, Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest and had his heart restarted on the field before being taken to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center for further evaluation and treatment. The team said that he had been sedated and was in severe condition. Then, on January 4th, the team announced via Twitter that Hamlin was in the intensive care unit with a serious condition despite some encouraging signs of progress over the past day and a half. Fans gathered outside the hospital to show support for the young athlete and raised millions of dollars to help him buy Christmas presents for kids in his hometown of McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania. CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus speculated that Hamlin may have suffered the rare condition of commotio cordis, which is a heart arrhythmia that occurs when someone takes a direct hit to the chest. However, Hamlin's doctors said on January 5th that it was too early to say if he'd experienced the condition. Let's talk about what you've all been waiting for: Damar's recovery. Hamlin was discharged from a Buffalo hospital on Wednesday, January 11th, just 2 days after doctors decided he was strong enough to be transported to Buffalo. Hamlin was then transferred from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center to Buffalo. Medical professionals were optimistic that he would recover with the Bills at home after he underwent a thorough examination and stated that Hamlin had met a number of key milestones at the time of the transfer. Also, according to reports, Damar Hamlin's condition is moving in a positive direction. Rooney stated that the Hamlin family was overjoyed by the worldwide outpouring of support for the second-year's Bill player. Rooney told the Associated Press, "We all remain optimistic." He also added that the family had asked him not to comment further about Hamlin's condition. "We're just glad Damar's doing good." Next, what are the next steps in Damar's recovery? Hamlin has completed a major milestone on his road to rehabilitation, getting discharged from the hospital and coming back home. According to several reports, the athlete had been able to walk and eat normally before he was released from the hospital. His heart and lungs seem to be the main area of concern moving ahead. According to the findings that have been made public, therefore, Damar will be continuously monitored and subjected to new tests. All organs will be scanned and tested, but that's mostly just for precaution. According to the medical staff, Hamlin showed no signs of brain damage. This is all because paramedics were able to get Hamlin's heart beating quickly again after he went into cardiac arrest, thus brain damage from a lack of oxygen. So kudos for that. Finding out what caused Hamlin's heart arrest is most likely the next step toward his recovery. Was this commotio cordis? Or is there a deeper underlying issue that needs to be addressed? It's also possible that his recovery plan will need to be adjusted if cardiac abnormalities are found. But let's just keep our fingers crossed for the time being. Moving on, how long is the recovery process expected to take? Now, as we just mentioned, several factors will affect Hamlin's prognosis, but pinpointing the cause of his cardiac arrest is an important first step. It can take months to determine what's going on. This also depends on the extent of the injury and the organs that were compromised. For now, all we know is that the on-site medical team followed their emergency action plan to a T, and that's why Hamlin is still alive. Now, he must begin a painful and perhaps lengthy process of healing that might take months or even years. Dr. William Knight IV was asked about Hamlin's condition and responded, "The best outcome is back to who he was before all this happened." How long that might take is anyone's guess right now, but the fact that it's even a possibility is remarkable. Coming up, are there any more challenges down the road? Hamlin's rehabilitation will involve 3 components: physical, neurological, and psychological. Hamlin's health is clearly improving. He'll he'll be quite weak after a week in the ICU, especially after a few days of being sedated and ventilator dependent. But given the fact that he's already walking, things seem to be on the upturn. He'll gradually increase his activities as he gets stronger, but it'll be a while before he's back to his old self. So far, Hamlin's brain function tests have been excellent. However, certain symptoms may not appear till later. Memory, motor function, and balance can all still be affected. He will continue to be monitored to ensure that any neurological concerns that occur are discovered and handled as soon as possible. There is some encouraging news though. According to reports, Hamlin has been talking to his family and teammates and was even able to watch the Bills' emotional win in Week 18. Also, we can't forget about the emotional toll. You see, there's also a psychological component to this whole thing. Hamlin may or may not remember the specifics of what transpired on the field, but he certainly went through a terrifying ordeal. This is a critical part of the healing process that must not be neglected. What are his chances of making a comeback to football? If you ask us, Hamlin's potential return to football or any other physical activities is still a long way off. He's come a long way in a week, but right now, the priority is getting back to 100%. If he keeps making strides like this, the sky's the limit. But at this point, it would be premature to make any predictions about his athletic career. Next up, Ryan Shazier has some advice for the young athlete. Though Hamlin's future is unclear, former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Ryan Shazier has an idea. In 2017, during a routine tackle, Shazier suffered a life-changing spinal cord injury that rendered him temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. And even after surgery to stabilize his spine, his future was bleak. The medical team predicted that he had only a 20% chance of recovering his mobility. Although Shazier and Hamlin's injuries were very different, they both occurred on the same field at the same time during a nationally televised Monday Night Football game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and they've both bounced back to their feet. From wiggling his toes to bending his knees, Shazier very much had to relearn everything, and each small success encouraged him to keep going. Shazier and his wife were at the game on January 2nd and saw Hamlin collapse on the field, which he described as a very tough moment for himself. When asked by Morning Edition's A. Martinez what advice he would give Hamlin now, Shazier discussed his own injury and recuperation. The former linebacker advised Damar to keep a positive outlook and put his trust in God. He also urged the young athlete to take things slowly to avoid any potential health issues. Shazier further emphasized by saying that Hamlin needs to have faith in himself right now, go as hard as he can, but also know when to stop. Next, here's how the NFL world showed Damar support. After Damar's injury, the Bills gave their players the following Monday and Tuesday off to regroup, and quarterback Josh Allen stated that while his teammates had not yet seen Hamlin, they were eager to do so when he is ready. After Hamlin's cardiac arrest, people from all around the world came together to show their support by donating millions of dollars to his Chasing Millions Foundation's GoFundMe toy campaign. The 2021 6th-round pick has made it a priority to volunteer in and set a good example for the youth in his hometown of McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania, and the city of Pittsburgh. Several NFL teams showed their support for Hamlin by lighting their stadiums in blue and red, wearing t-shirts that read "Love for Damar," and taking time out to pray for and celebrate Hamlin's recovery. In their first game back on the field since Hamlin's cardiac arrest, the Bills defeated the New England Patriots on January 8th, but the entire game was dedicated to Hamlin. Players wore jerseys with 3 patches in honor of Hamlin, and the Bills' medical and athletic training staff were also honored before the game. There were signs supporting Hamlin all over the stadium, and players held up 3 fingers the whole time. Moments like these really do warm your heart up. Finally, Shannon Sharpe calls out Skip Bayless. Tensions were high on the set of Undisputed this past week. While making his return to the Fox Sports 1 show on Wednesday, Shannon Sharpe criticized his co-host Skip Bayless for his tweet about Bills safety Damar Hamlin's cardiac arrest during the game. If you don't know, Bayless drew criticism during Tuesday's Bills-Bengals game when he tweeted his displeasure at the rescheduling of Week 17's game because of Hamlin's sudden collapse. Sharpe began his show on Thursday by saying that the tragedy had hit him a little different, before criticizing Bayless's handling of the incident on Twitter. In the meantime, Bayless seemed surprised and even hinted that the hosts weren't going to bring up the Twitter controversy he'd recently been involved in. After the heated exchange, Sharpe and Bayless moved on with the show and started talking about LeBron James. After Bayless's initial tweet during the Bengals Bengals-Bills game, he drew backlash from NFL players and other pro athletes. Some even asked for him to be fired. On Monday night, the former ESPN host apologized in a separate tweet by writing, "Nothing is more important than that young man's health. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. I prayed for him and will continue to." That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Damar will be able to bounce back? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.